everybody, it's Claire and welcome to a bit of an impromptu tutorial. You can see I've got in front of me a very clever design by Kerby Rosanes. It's from, I'll just grab it, it's from this book here, Geomorphia. And I've posted some work in progress over the last couple of days on this, and you guys have gone bananas over it. So there's quite a few of you who are following along with this work in progress. I posted this particular stage yesterday on the Kerby Rosanes Facebook site and also on Instagram and my Pinterest colouring gallery, which is Claire Holoway Colouring. And like I say, it's gone down a storm. So a lot of you have asked, how are you creating this? It's quite an intimidating piece, so I just thought I'd share with you some of the tips and tricks and some of the palettes that I've been using. So I've got quite a lot of pencils out today, but we'll go through them. Now, I did also recently, and this is in a frame, so hopefully the camera won't pick it up. Oh, it is a little bit. It is a little bit. If I just move this out of the way. Yeah, so you can see the green man, anyway, from Mythomorphia. And the principle that I'm going to show you in terms of treating these pieces like grayscale is the exact same technique that I used for this green man, okay? So I won't be doing a tutorial on this one, but the technique that I'm going to show you on the Whirlpool, you'll be able to take away with you if you wanted to have a crack at the green man as well. Okay, so when I talk about grayscale, you'll see proper grayscale colouring books, and what they do is they help you colour by guiding you with light and shade in terms of ink shadow on the page, and that's exactly what we're going to do here. So where Kerby has indicated darker pieces of ink work, that's where we're going to be putting our darkest colours. So that's what I mean when I'm saying grayscale. Okay, so I'm going to use the map that Kerby's already laid down to place my colour. That's the first tip. That's the tip that I would say if you wanted to try the green man, that's the one to take away with you. Darkest colours on the deepest ink, okay? So just take a look at this piece. I can understand why a lot of you are saying, I don't know where to start, it's intimidating, okay? So if you look at it as a whole, it is intimidating. Where on earth do you start with it? So in my mind, what I did was break it up into sections, and I'll explain what I mean. So if I just grab my pencil and I'll point. So I've got 3 palettes out ready to show you. I've got a green, an aqua and a blue, okay? And what I've done is break this background up into sections. So can you see? Let me show you without the colour on first. Can you vaguely see this line, this continuous line here, going all the way around the Whirlpool? And there's another one here. Can you see that? And then we've got another one kind of coming up from here and around there, okay? And basically that's what I've done. I've taken it in these sections. And if you look very closely, you can see where I've used my 3 different palettes. So can you see on this section, if I just point out, to the left of my pencil is the blue palette, okay? To the left of my pencil is the green palette. To the left of my pencil in this section is the aqua palette. Left of my pencil, it's the green palette. Blue, blue, green, green, okay, and then I'll be putting in a blue up here. So can you see that I've broken it down into these swathes, into these individual swirls, and used a different palette, just at random, so there's not 2 palettes the same sitting next to each other. And that's how I've done this background, okay, to try and break it down in my head and make it a little bit easier. So I've done the same really for the centre of the Whirlpool. So I've literally just taken a complete random mix of all 3 palettes and placed the dark colours, so the blacks and the dark blues and the dark cobalt turquoises, where the deepest parts of the ink are, okay? So I think what I'll do is, let me show you the blue colours first. Well, actually, let me show you all 3 palettes first. Let's move this out the way. So you can see that I've got my black, and my black is steady across all of the palettes. It's for the deepest shading. So if I just move you up, can you see places like this? this is where you'll want your black. Okay, and I know that can be quite scary putting black onto a page, but it really is your best friend in terms of shading. Right. So, and these are all Prismacolors. Don't worry about writing them down. They'll be in the tutorial description. So this is my blue palette. And for all three palettes, I have a range of deep to light, okay, which is going to create my light and shadow, okay? So this blue palette, my deepest is Indanthrone Blue, which is 208. Then I have Copenhagen Blue, which is 906. Then I have Cerulean Blue, which is 103. Then I have True Blue, which is 903. Then I have Non-Photo Blue, which is 919. And I have Sky Blue Light, which is 1086. So that's my blue palette. My Aqua Palette, again from darkest to light, is Cobalt Turquoise 105. Then I've got Aquamarine 905. Then I've got Light Aqua, which is 992. And again, I've got my Sky Blue Light, which is the lightest, which is 1086. And then my green palette, my deepest shade, is Peacock Blue, which is 1027. Then I've got Parrot Green, which is 1006. I have True Green, which is 910. And I have, lastly, my Light Green, okay, which is 920. Okay. So, which is the best way to show you this? I think, let's do... Yes, because that's got quite a few shaded areas in it. So again, if I just grab my black pencil, what we'll do today, the first section that I showed you, there's kind of a line here, okay? So we will do today this bit here, okay? And I think, given that this is blue, and I've got green here and I've got aqua there, yes, I think we'll use the Aqua Palette, okay? So I'm just going to pick those ones up. And I'm doing the background first. I'll show you how I did the jellyfish, but I'll leave that till last. The reason I'm doing the background first is because this design is so intricate. Until you work out what is background and what isn't, it's very difficult to tell what's jellyfish, okay? So doing the background first really just makes it easier in your head as to picking out the jellyfish, and we'll do those last, okay? So remember, I've got my Aqua Palette. And what I'm going to do is, I'll probably need to turn this around a little bit. Don't be afraid. I mean, if you've got your books, clearly your whole book would turn around. Don't be afraid to turn it 90 degrees or 180 degrees. Just whichever hand you use, just make it easy for your hand, okay? So I want to check that you can still see what I'm doing. I'm going to be working here. Yes, so I think what I might do as well is, if you bear with me, I will gently zoom you in a little bit, okay? I'm going to be working here. Yes, that's pretty much at the centre of what I'm going to be doing. Right, I'm going to start with my black, okay? So just keep in mind this line here. That's the boundary of where we'll be colouring to. Like I said at the start, we're going to put the deepest colours on the darkest ink, okay? So if you've seen me blend with Prismacolors, which you may have if you've watched some of my other tutorials, there's quite a few on blending with Prismacolors. What you'll know that I do is I don't necessarily layer them. So I just start off with a light touch blend line. So I'm barely putting any pressure on the page, okay? And then behind that, I'm going to use firm pressure, okay? And that will give you the little blend line when you go to the next colour. So again, look at the ink here. There's quite a bit of ink. So I'm just going to put the black. And if you follow this map, think of it as a map. Kerby's already laid down where he thinks the shadows should be in his drawing. It's really clever. And again, I'm just going to do myself a blend line, firmer behind. Okay, so let's just carry on. On this particular section of the swirl, with these areas of black. And I know it looks scary putting black on a page, but like I say, it's your best friend in terms of creating shadow. On the green man I used a lot of black, a lot of black. Okay, where else do we want to be? Here, I think. So that's part of the jellyfish. So we'll leave. So even though this is shaded here, it's part of the jellyfish tail, the actual jellyfish itself. So this is what I mean about working out which is design and which is jellyfish. And I procrastinated long and hard about the jellyfish palette, but we'll come to that in a bit. A little bit here, I think. So I'm aiming for this to be roughly about half an hour, I hope. Yes, so this isn't jellyfish, this is background. And sometimes it's not clear. Sometimes you can't tell from the lines, the ink lines, whether it's background or jellyfish because it's so intricate in places. And just take a choice. Make it jellyfish, make it background. It's your page. So I'm going to put my black to one side and then I'm going to go to my cobalt turquoise colour. And I'm going to follow this pattern, okay? So wherever I put black, I'm going to blend it into cobalt turquoise. And what we'll get is, eventually, we'll work up to having these bits here where there is no ink at all will be our lightest shades, okay? So we're just going to follow the map. And this is how I've done this. This technique is exactly the same. I've just repeated it in sections with the different palettes. Okay, so you get a beautiful mixture of blues, green and aquas. So we'll start from the top and work down again, I think. So light touch blend line, firmer behind and firmer over the blend line of the black. And these are wax-based pencils, so they will do a lot of the blending for you. Okay. Just be careful to leave these little foam circles in white. And what I'll do is towards the end, because sometimes you can't help going over them a little bit, what I've got out for later on is just a white gel pen, and when I finish the page I'll just go over all of the little foam circles just to make them stick out in full white. Now I'm going to be careful with this one because can you see it's butting up against this sky blue light here? So just gently, and then just blend it into this black. But then what I'm quickly going to do is take my sky blue light and just blend this little bit away, okay? And it'll just disappear nicely into that part of the circle. Back to my cobalt turquoise, following the pattern. And you guys have been so kind about these pages. I think if you take it in sections like this and just break it up in your head, it gets a lot less intimidating. A lot less intimidating. And I'm not saying you won't need patience, because clearly it's a page that you'll need patience for. But the results are really quite staggering when you see them. And the way that I colour and the way that my brain thinks about colouring, it isn't rocket science. You literally all can have a go. I have not one art qualification to my name. Not one. I've been colouring for 4 years. I'm self-taught. So believe me, if I can do it, anybody can. So again, we're just remembering this line here. I'm not going to go past that. Just following the pattern that I laid down in the black. So this is all quite heavily inked. Where else? Here, look. And there's a little bit there, so I'm just going to do a little bit of a light touch cobalt turquoise over this ink here. Careful around that little bubble. Okay, can you still see what I'm doing? I'm down here. Actually, let me move that up a little bit for you, I think. Yeah, that might be a bit better for you. Work himself down off the camera. And when I posted the green man on Instagram, this is why I've got white underneath, by the way, because when you get to the edges, you can just kind of go over a little bit. When I posted the green man on Instagram, I actually got a like on it from the man himself, from Kerby Rosanes, which just made my month. I was going to say a day, but it didn't. It made my month, because he very rarely goes on Instagram, I don't think. So to get a direct thumbs up from the man himself was just brilliant. Where does that leave us? Yes, I think we have that pattern. So I'm going to put down my cobalt turquoise and then go to my aquamarine. Okay, and again, within this little section, I'm just going to follow this pattern. And you will gradually fill up the space with your light and shade. And if you take it from the darkest first, if you take it from the black, that's how your brain will make sense of it, because then you've just got to follow the pattern. Follow the pattern. It's almost like a humongous jigsaw puzzle. A big colouring jigsaw puzzle. Where do I need to be? I need to be in here. So you can see that with this aquamarine colour, this particular part of the design that's deeply in shade, I'll finish this up with the aqua. It won't get any lighter than this aquamarine colour in this particular part of this section. Right, I'll go over here, I think. And as you start putting these lighter colours in, the shade starts to make sense. Again, just being careful around these little foam bubbles. This bit is, yes, so this bit isn't jellyfish. This bit actually isn't jellyfish, look. Okay, actually, no, that bit is jellyfish. Blend line, firmer behind. Where else do I need to be? Down here. So I think we'll put a little bit around this here. So I'm just going to mark out with light touch where I want to place it, and then firmer behind. So all you've got to do is follow the map that Kerby has very helpfully left us. That's background, look. And this is what I mean about leaving the jellyfish to last, because you can see as I'm starting to put the colour on, it brings out the actual bit of the jellyfish that you'll need to colour. Right. And lastly, I think, yes, just follow this pattern here. I've just gone over the edge of that jellyfish slightly. Where is my mono eraser? There it is. It's behind me. I've just got a Tombow 100 fine tip eraser. There we go. Sharpen that up. I've just got an auto pencil sharpener. It's kind of not branded, just from Amazon. I think it was about £12. I've also got a really nice swordfish to my left, which you can't see, which is out of shot, and that was ridiculously expensive. And that is equally as good. Okay, am I happy with that? I think we'll put a bit here. Maybe do this bit. Like I say, these bits in between the jellyfish fronds, just go with the flow. It's your decision how much of each colour you want to follow the pattern with. But you need to use all of the palette for your light and shade. So I'm going to go to my light aqua. Follow the pattern. So now I'm thinking about where I want to place, because I'm just going to gently mark it out. I think I might, yes, if I take it down here, I'm just thinking about where I want to place my lightest colour. So can you see, because I've got the two lightest colours in my hand, there's no ink in these areas here. So this is where we want our lightest colours to be. So I'm just thinking I've got two colours left in my hand. I'm just trying to work out in my brain where I want to place both of them. So remember, we're not going to go any further than this section line here. And then when I do the next section, so kind of this one here, so this line, follow this line round here, I won't use the Aqua Palette. I'll probably use, I don't know, a green or a blue. Don't put two palettes. So when you're breaking up your page into individual swirls, don't put two palettes of the same together, okay? That's what gives you a lovely mix of the three. So these bits are just dead easy because they're block colouring. And like I say, everything I do isn't rocket science. I think the only tutorial you might find of mine where it's a little bit difficult is the one on bubbles. Most of what I try to teach, you can genuinely have a stab at, and you don't have to be Picasso. And if you look at my earliest tutorials, they're the ones with the basics. I've got some on light sources, there's some on perspective, and then there's some with advanced blending of these pencils for really empty backgrounds. And I'm a Prismacolor girl. You won't find me using polychromos very much. It's just the style that I like to colour in. Okay, so that is jellyfish. That is jellyfish. That's not jellyfish. Right, okay, so I'm going to put that down. I'm going to go to my lightest, which is sky blue light. And basically, I'm just going to finish the section off. And I'm pretty pleased with how this is blended. So I'm not going to go out and go back and smooth anything over. But clearly, because for the time constraints of the tutorial, but clearly if you're not happy with a blend, you can go back and play till your heart's content. Where are we? Yes, we've just got to finish this little bit off, I think. Yep. that's the last bit. So can you see I've got my lightest in my hand here, but there's a little tiny bit of black here. So I'm just going to be careful as I go up to the edge of that, because I don't want to pull that black and muddy this sky blue light on this part of the swirl. So I'm just going to be a little bit careful. There we go. How does that look? Well, how is that looking? So we've done this bit here. Okay. So you can see that I've just used a mix of the palettes as I've gone along. Okay. And like I say, this one I'll probably use a blue or a green. I won't use another aqua. Okay, so let's have a quick look at a jellyfish. Let me pick a good one to show you. Let's see, because there's a little trick to these. I'm just looking for one where there's a good mix of shade and not shade. Should have picked this before we started, shouldn't we? I wonder if, no, let's stick to this page. Okay, so yes, make a decision, Claire. We are going to have a look at this one, because for all I haven't coloured the background, it's in a relatively clear space behind, so I can tell what is jellyfish and what isn't, and it's got a nice mix of ink and no ink on it. So let me point with my pencil. It's going to be this one. So I'm just checking where you are on the page. I might move you up slightly, so it's this one. Okay. So jellyfish colours. Didn't have a clue what I was going to do to start with. And like I usually do, if that's the case, I just had a look at some images online. You see a lot of the red jellyfish, but the tendrils are quite difficult to replicate in your head, because a lot of them are clear, or they're transparent with a slight colour. So anyway, this is what I chose. So again, from dark to light, I've got Tuscan red, which is 937. I've got Crimson Lake, which is 925. I have Poppy Red, which is 922. I have Pale Vermillion, which is 921. I have Yellowed Orange, which is 1002. I have Sunburst Yellow, which is 917. So that's for the actual body of the jellyfish, for the hat. And these are what I've used for the tendrils. So I've got Lavender, which is 934. And then I've got Deco Pink, which is 1014. Okay, so I'm going to put the lavender and the pink to one side for a second, and I'm going to do the body of the jellyfish first. So I'm going to take my darkest Tuscan red, and again it's the same principle. Where you see the most ink, you put the deepest shade. Okay, so can you see on this big one? Can you see on this big one here? I put my finger out of the way, she says, trying to get into the middle. Can you see on that big one? So where the ink is, I've got the deepest colours, and where there's hardly any ink, I've got the lightest colours. Okay, so it's the same principle. And like I say, it's the same principle for the green man. You just follow the map. Now I need to check that that's back in shot properly. Here, that's better. Right. Tuscan red. And I'm only going to put very small areas of each colour on, because you can see it's a tiny little beastie. And we want to use all of the light and shade. Okay. So that is tendril. So we are literally just looking at this hat section here. Right. Let's go to Crimson Lake. Same thing. Follow the pattern. Just gently. Slightly over and slightly out from the previous colour in a medium firm pressure. Okay. Poppy red. And again, you'll find that as you go along, you'll fill the space up. And if you've seen my tutorial for red velvet curtains, you'll recognise this technique. And probably some of these colours also. Okay. Now, because we've got such a small space left, I think I'm going to miss my pale vermilion out, and I'm going to go straight to my yellowed orange. And just put in the highlights. There we go. Okay, and I'm not going to get to use my particular lightest colour on this one because the jellyfish is too small. So let's quickly have a look at these tendrils. So my kind of shade is lavender and my light is the deco pink. So again, I'm going to start with my darkest. Look at where the ink is, okay? Put your deepest shade where the most ink is. And it really is that easy. Just following the ink lines. Again, I've just gone over it slightly there. Because we're working in such a small area. There. Yes, and I think I'll make the rest pink. So just then, very, very simply, just being careful. Literally, in a medium firm hand, block colour the rest in pink. And it's as easy as that. You just have to see the map in your mind's eye. And if you follow the ink that Kerby has laid down, you can't go far wrong. Okay, right, so let me zoom you out again. There we go. So basically that is it. Thank you for all the wonderful feedback on it. It's been brilliant. I will keep posting the whip as we go along on the Kerby Facebook site and on Instagram. And as I say, I have a Pinterest gallery. It's Claire Holoway Colouring. And thanks for listening. If you've got any questions, just drop me a line on the channel. Bye for now, guys.